Oh, ooh-wee. I know that by the time these come out, I do realize I'll probably have like maybe 10 videos because I'm such a loser, but I could talk about the Waukesha incident again, which is, like I said, for clarification, now it appears that 6 people are dead. There's one still in critical condition. There may be others. Committed by this guy, Daryl Brooks, aka Math Boy Fly, a local rapper, accused of sex trafficking. Yeah, he was actually in jail for it. Domestic abuse. Um, Allegedly, I think as far as I know, it was because he was leaving a knife attack, and then he left. But now people are saying that this was intentional. So I could talk about that, but honestly, when I thought about it and when I started reading more about it, I just got depressed, and I really couldn't jump into it. So I'm not going to. I'm not going to. I'm gonna instead do the table talk, tub talk. Excuse me, table talk, tub talk of U.S. versus China, because that's a little more interesting and a little more appealing. And yeah, now this is more of a rhetorical argument. This is much more about propaganda and about how things are presented. About actual material capability, I will not do that. Not, partly because of my own American bias, but also just let's not. Let's not. Um, so let's jump into it. So I'm not going to make this a huge long video, but I think that it's interesting the way the United States is vilifying its own history. Good, bad, right, or wrong. I have vilified it enough as well in these videos. But to vilify people like Thomas Jefferson and to take statues of him out of I think it's the New York City, or maybe it's the New York State. Uh, I think it was a courthouse. I think I could be wrong. Either that, or else it was like a council or something like of some sort. But they put it into a museum. I think that we are going to see, more of this occur. Once again, Charlottesville meant nothing, unfortunately. It's all about defending a statue. We had these arguments for a long time. Meanwhile, China is building statues to, people. Well, I don't think Sun Tzu, but there are other ancients in China who have statues up. Nobody's taking these down. You know, Buddhism, as it was so wrecked and destroyed during the Cultural Revolution, is coming back. Now, of course, mind you, as long as you approve of the CCP and you don't get on their bad side, or excuse me, Communist Party of China, CPC, excuse me, I'll be very specific. I'm sorry. Because I know when you use CCP, you're a bad American. So, you're imperialist. But anywho, you know, the Shaolin Temple in particular is coming back. You know, I think everybody's waiting for the penny to drop so that things can get worse. And I think the thing is that I really don't think China wants war. I really don't. And I don't think the US wants it. As much as people try to push for it, they don't want to. They just want cheap products from China and, that are of decent quality. Yeah, Americans would love to get better made American stuff, but they don't want to pay the costs, so they don't. We already made our choice along, 50 plus years ago to send manufacturing over to China. That doesn't mean I approve, It means that's the way it is. You know, China has gotten, well, a lot of people, more is one thing, but a lot of countries and their leaders on their side. And I think apart from India being one of the biggest China haters, I guess you could say, for decent reasons, going back to the many wars that they've had. You have a lot of countries who are going to make their peace with China. Now, of course, the thing is, some of this, in my opinion, goes back to more of the false, you know, sort of "we'll give you what you want" sort of thing that the Nazis did with the Azerbaijanis, Armenians, Russians themselves, Estonians, Latvians, etc., etc. You know, that we're going to help you get your lands so that, we just have to wear our uniforms and pledge allegiance to Hitler, etc., etc., right? And I think this will turn out bad in the end because ultimately, I don't think China gives a fuck. Is that they learned from other groups that, it's very easy to manipulate marginalized groups. It's very easy because they're so desperate for attention, you know. This is another thing as well, which goes back to the Japanese. Many, you know, Garveyites and, black nationalists thought that Japan was a genuinely anti-imperialist force. Now, one of these days I'm going to read that book, but this was very popular sentiment in the 1930s and 1940s. Japan gave a lot of, lip service to African Americans, much the same way as the Chinese try to do. Of course, the thing is, the Chinese they hate black folks in there, in China, you know, and they're hugely marginalized. Where the fuck am I going with this? But they're playing a good game, and I'm trying to look at this objectively. I'm not trying to promote any anti-China hatred or any anti-U.S. hatred. Not at least any more U.S. hatred than I already have. But it's interesting to see, and I would rather talk about that than these domestic issues. And I know I've built it around. I don't like to talk about the the international issues and prefer to talk about the domestic issues. But right now, it's just very disheartening. And let's bring this back around full circle. The Waukesha case is being buried. People are making their excuses for it, of course, and a lot of people basically just became, they were just like, why didn't he claim self-defense because of Ma Rittenhouse case? And obviously, it's within, I think, 20 miles, probably less, of Kenosha. So it's one of those things. It's very disheartening. It is very disheartening to see. Of course, Ahmaud Arbery, of course, I think I already said last week that they were going to be convicted, but they were. The McMichaels were convicted. Um, I don't have much else to say about it. I just, I'm going to take a break from this shit. It's probably best that I take about a week off. So I guess I should say thank you to YouTube. I should say thank you for allowing me to take a break of a week to say, because I don't have the stomach. I really don't have the stomach to deal with a lot of these issues or even talk about them. And I don't feel like going on Twitter and going through the threads. I don't feel like it. I really don't. I'd rather just read a bit more and just kind of quiet it down a bit. I'll probably eventually go back to it. I'll feel the itch and come back. But for now, I'll just record videos about other stuff and maybe I'll do a couple Junger readings and I'll just do that. So anyway, hope y'all enjoy this video here when it comes out next week sometime. See you later. Goodbye. Doo-ba-doo-boo-doo-doo.